What's up guys, Blade Master here, going to be bringing you some Charlemagne action, multiplayer action. This is a 1v1 battle that Harrenus from the ZEAL clan sent me, and he told me that this was a very interesting battle. Also specified that I shouldn't watch the replay before commentating. Newsflash, I never watch replays before commentating. Maybe a more well-prepared YouTuber would do that, but not me. Blade likes to keep it off the cuff, impromptu, least work as possible style of commentary. That's what suits me the most. So looks like these guys have already found like a Nemetocenna equal. Both players start on sort of a hill. I don't even know which map this is. It's not one of the preset maps. There are only 3 preset maps, but to its credit, the preset maps seem to be pretty decent. And apologies if my nose sounds stuffy as fuck, because it is. I've been a bit sick. Yo boy, I got them sniffles. So 2 players starting on 2 opposite ends, 2 opposite hills, and they fight in the middle ground, just like classic Nemi. In this match, Harrenus playing against Sol Invictus. Sol Invictus has taken the Avars, and Harrenus has taken Westphalia. Now, the Avars, very powerful faction, Avar horse archers fighting up against the scout cavalry. Don't like the use of scout cavalry. No, scout cavalry are okay. They have the 90 speed, whereas the Avar horse archers have 90 speed. So, light and very light cavalry seem to have the same amount of speed, but of course, the Avar horse archers will destroy the scout cavalry any day of the week because they have much longer range. Still, the scout cavalry have taken some shots, and they've got 90 missile damage javelins, only like 2 proper volleys with that. So all in all, it's a pretty lackluster unit, one that I wouldn't recommend bringing. He's also brought some spear warriors, Avar lancers, a total of 4 Avar lancers brought by Sol Invictus, who are spread very wide, and they are taking good shots against the spear warriors. Unlike Attila, spearmen, some of them just don't have high melee, high missile defense or high missile block chance. He's pulling away with the Avar lancers, using the speed to his advantage. The strong, much stronger Hearth cavalry, which I honestly don't rate that heavily, and also much heavier, much slower, is trying to chase after them. It looks like it's going to get a charge in, but the Avar lancers also get a charge. Honestly, I really like the color scheme in Charlemagne. Units are much more colorful, you can see more stuff happening, and the Avar lancers have gotten 20 kills, killed off a scout cavalry, but they're going to die pretty quickly to the Hearth cavalry. But this is why I think Hearth cavalry are not that good. At the end of the day, all cavalry has 150 health, and it's on them to have incredible melee defense or armor to give them that staying power, which the Hearth cavalry don't really seem to have, which is why they get killed very quickly on the charge by something like an Avar lancer, which is very cheap. Whereas the Hearth cavalry at 1,000 talents is incredibly expensive. The Avar lancer is like 450 or 400. 31 kills on the Avar lancer. Tribesmen, of course, one of the units that make Avar such a powerful faction, coming in to support, not used in that quasi-archer role. They're going to be killing off the Hearth cavalry here, and the Warhounds, one of the Warhounds units that only Westphalia can field, I believe, cost 150, coming in to help out there, getting 5 kills somehow, and possibly killing off some of the horse archers. Let's see if the dogs are chasing after them. Yeah, they've been chasing after them, but they're almost all dead. One of the noble javelin men, these units cost like 450 talents, are coming in to support. They have encourage, but they don't have any elite special abilities that you'd associate with elite tier javelin units. At the end of the day, they don't cost all that much. So tribesmen here, that's the big problem with tribesmen. They have no missile block chance, they have no shields, so they are just going to be, whoa, I should take a screenshot of this. This is awesome. They wield this double-handed spear, and that means that they don't have any missile block chance, but of course they make up for that by having a lot of elite tier arrows. So they're basically arrow spears. Arrow spears. So he's brought some levy spearmen, a total of 4 levy spearmen, couple of tribesmen, and 4 Avar noble swordsmen, and a couple of Avar foot archers. And on the other hand, Westphalia brought some Hearth cavalry, noble javelin, as we can see here, a mixture of axe warriors, 3 or 4 axe warriors, and some some sword veterans, and a Hearth guard. Saxon cavalry, Hearth cavalry, noble javelin men, and another scout cavalry. And the noble javelin men seem to have done quite a bit of damage so far, but they're all out of ammo, so it's going to be questionable how much more useful they can be. Axe warriors, single-handed axes in Charlemagne are very strong, but they still obviously won't hold a candle to the double-handed axe in terms of melee. Still a very good unit. Can pop shield wall, which will increase their missile block chance and give them a bonus versus infantry, which is very useful. Sword veterans cost 700 talents, questionable value since they Westphalia has access to Seax warriors who cost 600 talents and have a 5 bonus versus infantry. But these guys are a much more defensive unit. They have better armor, better melee defense. Seax warriors have literally no armor, so that's actually a good idea, because if Sol Invictus with the Avars brought a line of tribesmen, the Seax warriors would be toast. But yeah, unfortunately he hasn't. He's brought Levy Spearmen and Avar Noble Swordsmen, who are also a very good unit. Cost a whole lot of money though, 900 talents I believe. And they wield the Sparta, which is very, very good. I think this gives them a good 14. No, oh wow, this is a very weird sword. It's not it's not a Sparta. It doesn't give them a high amount of armor piercing. Noble Gentleman got 96 kills here, taking on the tribesmen in melee. But look at that melee damage. It's absolutely terrible. But 30 charge bonus for a unit this cheap, pretty good. The scout cavalry going to utilize their speed and try and catch these horse archers. But it looks like that was not a welcome move, because the Avar guard general is trying to chase after them and actually get some kills in the process. But Avar guard very, very vulnerable to missiles. They have decent enough armor, I believe, if I recall correctly. They have 54 armor, which is actually very good, but no missile block chance, so the archers will do plentiful damage. Archers, I think, are of incredible importance in Charlemagne, and I'll cover that in a separate online battle, and I'll showcase to you guys why. The Axe Warriors here charged into the Levy Spearmen. Levy Spearmen ended up getting 10 kills against Axe Warriors, but the Axe Warriors are, of course, going to beast them out. In terms of melee infantry, I think Westphalia has it. The Hearth Cavalry has killed off the Avar Lancer, but these Avar Horse Archers are always going to be a pain in the ass. He should have been using them to fire in here. Noble Javelinmen, even if we get some kills on the Noble Javelinmen, that'll be good enough, because they cost a decent bit of money. I mean, 450, not too much, but good enough to spend some of your ammo on with your Avars. Because these 3 Noble Swordsmen will do a decent enough amount of damage against the Axe Warriors, possibly kill off 3 of the Axe Warriors and some of the Sword Veterans. But obviously he'd want to take that engagement as slowly as possible. Axe Warriors here killed off another Avar Lancer, and the Avar Guard is down to 34 men. That is why Shock Cavalry, I would... Honestly, these are all preliminary stuff that I'm telling you guys about. But I honestly wouldn't really bring too many Lancer Cavalry. These Avar Lancers get stuck into Noble Javelinmen, get a decent number of kills on them, but then the Hearth Cavalry coming in. But this is actually it sets up a perfect situation for Sol Invictus to fire in, but he's not using Flaming Shot, he's instead using Heavy Shot, which is, again, of questionable use. They're going to kill off the Avar Lancer, but yeah, if Flaming Shot was poured in, the Hearth Cavalry will be taking a lot more damage than they are right now. Avar Horse Archers have the ability to one-shot cavalry units. They're very, very good against enemy cavalry, especially in Flaming Shot. Avar Guard taking some more damage from the Levy Archers. The Scout Cavalry being used quite effectively by Harrenus. They've gotten 135 kills, and he's using their speed perfectly, just baiting the Avar Guard of Sol Invictus. Here the Axe Warrior, Solitary Axe Warrior, got charged at by a Horse Archer, and that's the problem. Now that these Horse Archers are all out of ammo, they have nothing to do. Even if they charge in, they won't get many kills, and unlike Attila, base game Attila, they can't pull out at all. Like, if you pull out with cavalry, they're dead. Like, you have to use cavalry incredibly conservatively, which is why I don't think bringing a lot of lances is a good idea. The Saxon Cavalry, this is Saxon Cavalry, which costs 450, up against the Avar Guard, charges in. They are actually very, very good, the Saxon Cavalry, they seem to be at least. Let me see if this is the, if they wield a spear. It looks like they do wield a spear, which would increase their usefulness by a whole lot. They are light at the end of the day. They don't have good armor, right? Yeah, they have shit armor. But against, units like this in isolated scenarios like that, that was great use of cavalry. Then the Saxon Cavalry proved their worth, killed off the Avar Guard general very early on. The Avar Foot Archers haven't done much, and they're getting killed off by the enemy Levy Archers, by Harrenus' Levy Archer. But the Avar Horse Archers are going to be quite the pain. General is still alive somehow. The Avar Guard, very lucky stroke of fortune there for Sol Invictus. Let's try and get a close-up look on these Axe Warriors getting a rear charge. They are very aggressive units, and against the heavily armored Avar Noble Swordsmen, they are going to do a whole lot of damage, I would suspect. 52 melee attack on these guys, 108 kills so far. They're racking up the kills. The Avar Noble Swordsmen attacked in the rear. They're down to steady, and they're losing because they're tired already. Only 46 kills with these guys. The Levy Archers here, casualties sustained. And some more Avar Noble Swordsmen coming in to try and pile into this melee, but depends on if the Avar Noble Swordsmen are going to be able to hold out there. The Axe Warriors have done brilliantly. 176 kills, double experience chevron, and he's turning around to attack the Sword Veterans. And let's see if Harrenus is going to pop Shield Wall on us. No. Yeah, he's trying to. They've reformed just in time, but it's a downhill charge from Avar Noble Swordsmen. Granted, they only have 17 charge bonus, but yeah, and I think, yeah, that's probably a good idea. The Avar Noble Swordsmen are not going to do well. They have the melee damage going on for them, and they have the melee defense. They're all in all a good unit, but I think a lot more skirmish potential is to be had in a good Avar army, and I don't think that potential was realized by Sol Invictus in this battle. The Saxon cavalry moving around. It looks like a wash for Westphalia here. 102 kills, 3 kills with the Avar horse archers. They still have some ammo left. One volley, killing off the enemy Saxon cavalry, and some of the Avar horse archers still remain. The Avar noble swordsmen get a nice downhill charge onto these axe warriors, so they're going to do a lot of damage there. Kill off quite a few of them. They'd end up winning out against this axe warrior without too much of an issue. The axe warriors, they have to be used in an aggressive manner. I don't know if even the shield wall would really help them. The Avar noble swordsman killing some of the axe warriors here. Fast charge popped on with the hearth guard, and he's going to be trying to kill off the enemy Avar noble swordsman. Is there some desync going on? I don't know why there'd be desync, but apparently the game is supposed to be running for another 7.5 minutes. I don't see how, because there are literally no other units left. The Avar horse archers here still remain, but they don't have any ammo. Are there any units lurking nearby? I mean, are they like hidden? The hearth guard, whoa, down to 54 men. That's strange. I didn't even realize how they lost that many men. Were the levy archers firing? No, the foot archers weren't firing at them. But the hearth cavalry, or whatever they're called, royal cavalry, are gone. So there's no skirmish potential, no cavalry potential. General recently died for Harrenus. That could change things. The axe warriors here haven't done much of damage against the Avar noble swordsman. That Avar noble swordsman here with a double experience chevron, 50 melee damage, seems to be doing the trick here. But against sword veterans, I'm surprised that they've hung out this well. And what happened to the sword veteran that used shield wall? Didn't really do much. Excuse me. So he's going to use shield wall? Yeah, he's used shield wall on his hearth guard. The Avar horse archers here, premature charge against the hearth guard, and when they pull out, look at that, the amount of damage that they take. Granted, they didn't topple any of the hearth guard. If you don't topple them down, then there's no point in charging. Lost a lot of units for no real reason there. The Avar foot archers are really going to make their presence felt, firing into the right units, getting some decent rear shots there. Only 40% missile block chance on the hearth guard. Granted, they have excellent armor, but I think the Avar foot archers with their elite missile damage, what are they using? They're using whistling? They're using whistling, aren't they? Why are they using whistling? The general recently died, that's true, but you're coming up against sword veterans who have encourage and everything else, right? No, they don't. Okay, general recently died, and they have only 40 morale now. I highly rate using whistling and flaming shot at the same time. If he had some ammo with his horse archers and used whistling with them, flaming with the other, that could lead to a huge morale shock. That combination plays really well in Attila campaign, but it plays incredibly well in Charlemagne multiplayer, I found out too. So 5 minutes left. Let's see, they're trying to fire whistling shots still into the hearth guard. Not a fan of this idea. Should be just firing heavy shot and killing off a dangerous unit. And he's going to charge in with his Avar horse archers, still popping whistling. Now is a decent time to use whistling. The hearth guard use fast charge. The Avar horse archers die. The Avar noble swordsman is very dead. Their general fled recently, which isn't as much of a morale penalty as general dying recently. Still whistling shot being used by Sol Invictus, which could very well be the reason why he loses this very close battle. He still has quite a bit of ammo though, like 7 volleys of ammunition. Could be not a game changer, because I think Harrenus has won this. There's no real chance for Sol Invictus to pull this back, but it could still deal a lot of damage, and that's a lot of damage that's going to waste. Still using whistling. This could be the miss micro that costs him the game, in my opinion. And I think there's a very small chance of Harrenus losing this. I honestly don't see how he would, unless he just bum rushes an Avar Noble Swordsman that has shield wall on. 42 missile damage. This is more like it. He's using heavy shot now, just trying to kill off the Hearth guard, because these the Avar foot archers and all the Avars have got elite missile damage. They've got excellent missile damage. This is the this is 22 and 20. Yeah, he's using heavy shot. That's an incredible amount of armor piercing damage. Okay, 1.5 minutes left. Still firing into the Hearth guard, killing some more of the Hearth guard. They're using shield wall to get their missile block chance up, and he's going to feint a rear charge. Oh, he's feinting a rear charge to make the Hearth guard show their butts to the Avar foot archers. Then charges in, and here this sword veteran has popped shield wall, and they are obviously going to beast out against the Avar Noble Swordsman. And in any case, now that Avar Horse Archer is dead, that means these sword veterans can easily surround this Avar Noble Swordsman, and the Avar Foot Archers definitely used suboptimally. I would like to see Avar Foot Archers get at least a single experience chevron in almost every game they play, because they are very good units. But all in all, yes, it was a very good battle. It was a fun, close battle between Harrenus and Sol Invictus. Thank you to Harrenus for sending this battle to me. Whoa, that was a new animation that we didn't get to see until completion. Whoa, okay, okay, Harrenus was the Avars, and Sol Invictus was Westphalia. So just take everything that I said and turn it around. That's all. The Avar Noble Swordsman did okay. Yeah, Harrenus really should have brought a tribesman. Like, I think bringing 3 tribesmen he should have used the tribesmen in the role that he was trying to use the Levy Freeman in, and he should have done vice versa. Use the Levy Freeman to support the cav flanks. Use the tribesmen to try and kill off the Hearth guard, and some of the other, especially the axe warriors, don't have great armor, can be easily killed that way. But yeah, well played to Sol Invictus. Used the Saxon cavalry particularly well, I think. But yeah, fun game. Thank you to Harrenus for sending this to me. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and stay tuned for more. Peace.